The meadow is white with a winter snow. Lone as I stand at the place where Danny's lying, I say a silent prayer. Somehow I know He hears me there. So soft I tread above Him, for now He sleeps in peace. We hear Danny's voice no more. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you must go and I must bide, and I shall hear, though soft you tread above me, and all my dreams will warmer, sweeter be. And you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I will sleep in peace until you come to
Each day began with purpose clear, a willingness to persevere. No task too great, no chore too small. He gave his effort, he gave his all. His hands were busy, his path no sway. Through sweat and toil, he carved his way. His work never ceased until it was done, through rain and hail and the beating sun. With steady resolve and focus held fast, he built a future meant to last. But it wasn't just labour, it was love he gave, shown in the pride he took in what he made. And now, as we pause to reflect and recall the spirit of effort that inspired us all, we honour the life of a hard worker true, for Andy, whose strength and heart will see us through. Good morning and welcome to you all. My name is Rhonda Edwards and I consider it a privilege to be leading this service of celebration and remembrance for Andrew Graham McCallum, affectionately known as Andy. On behalf of Andy's family, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today to pay tribute to Andy's life and to reflect on the unique connections that each of you shared with him. For everyone here today and those watching virtually, you have been a part of Andy's story, sharing in moments of his life, and together you honour his memory and the lasting legacy he leaves behind. I open today's service with a poem titled A Good Day's Work, as it reflects so much of who Andy was, his drive, his determination, and the way he gave his all in everything he did. So today, may you remember Andy and the example he set through his hard work, commitment, and the way he tackled life with focus, purpose, and integrity. Beside me, there are 4 candles to be lit by Andy's family. This simple act is a mark of respect and farewell, a way of acknowledging Andy's life, his place within his family, and the regard in which he was held. So I'd like to now invite Maz, Fiona, Candice, and Tanya to please come forward and light the candles. Thank you. I'd like to now invite Andy's 2 sons, Jim and Bob, to come forward with items that held special meaning in Andy's life. These items will be placed on Andy's coffin. The first item is being brought forward by Jim, a photograph of Mount Warning near Murwillumbah in New South Wales, where Andy's family farm was located at the base. This place held special memories for Andy, and a little bit more of this will be shared during the eulogy. The second item, coming forward by Bob, is the Queensland State of Origin scarf. Andy was a one-eyed supporter of the team, loving them completely. And he even embraced the Broncos and the Cowboys when they started up, showing his loyalty to the Queensland teams and his love of the game. It is said that hard work is doing the job well, even when no one is watching. And Andy lived this every day. He was driven, dependable, and took real pride in his work. When Andy started a project, he saw it through. If he identified something that needed doing, you could be sure it would be done thoughtfully, thoroughly, and without fuss. Through many career changes, Andy showed that same strong work ethic. Whether he was working on the dairy farm, in the pub, cleaning, building a fence, or his remarkable Japanese tea pavilion, fondly referred to as the JTP, this was a quality people noticed and deeply admired. That same approach to work was closely tied to another well-known Andy trait, his stubborn streak. Andy liked to do things his way. It was very much his way or the highway, guided by a strong sense of independence. He trusted his own judgment, preferred to work on his own terms, and rarely took shortcuts or compromises. This came not from stubbornness alone, but from an inner confidence in his own abilities. That confidence may well have been shaped early on when he was part of the rural youth debating team and always more than happy to test an idea, stir up a little banter, argue a point or stand his ground. He was well read, with a sharp memory and a clear grasp on current affairs, which allowed him to defend his beliefs with both knowledge and authority. Andy also had a generous side, always willing to help anyone who needed it. Whether it was an odd job here or there, or helping with the hay, Andy always made sure to finish with a slab of beer in hand, a nod of satisfaction, and a reminder that even hard work could be enjoyed with others. Having grown up with older parents alongside his brother William, Andy didn't really experience a deeply loving family upbringing. And when he married Maz, it became something that they were determined to create together. Andy and Maz met through friends, but their start wasn't exactly smooth. Maz thought she was going to the drive-in movies with a group of girlfriends, and suddenly Andy jumped in the car. What a nerve, she thought. Andy asked her out many times, and each time she said no, just wanting to have fun with her friends. But as Maz says, he just kept turning up. His persistence eventually won her over, and the rest, as they say, is history. As well as being a husband, a father, a father-in-law, and a pop, Andy was also a much-loved brother-in-law to Douglas and Vicky, Denise and Rob, Trevor and Carolyn, and Paul, as well as a valued uncle within the wider family. Family meant the world to Andy, and that circle wouldn't be complete without Betty, his adored Jack Russell, who was always close by. In 2019, Andy's world and that of his family's changed when he suffered a stroke. It wasn't only the medical journey that followed. For someone so independent who liked to do things his own way, learning to rely on others was a huge shift. Yet Andy met this chapter with remarkable grace, and a softer, more humble side of his character emerged. When Andy moved into Irvine House, he was genuinely loved by the staff. They appreciated his directness, his humour, even when it bordered on being politically incorrect, and the way he enjoyed a bit of banter. He was affectionately named the captain, often seen keeping an eye on the other residents. True to form, Andy became involved in chairing staff meetings, asking for the agenda in advance and making sure he knew exactly what was going on. He even took on the role of bingo caller, embracing it with his usual sense of purpose. Andy faced many challenges in life, and with each one he found a way forward. He will be remembered for his strong opinions, his stubbornness, his drive, and his determination. But above all, Andy will be remembered as someone who lived life unapologetically as himself, with loyalty and integrity. And to continue sharing memories, I'd like to now invite Andy's best mate, John O'Carrigan, to please come forward. Do you want a hand? Now, do you want to sit or did you want to sit?
No.
You're happy to?
Yeah. Got my bits and bobs.
You've got your bits and bobs.
Yeah. As was just mentioned, I've been considered Andy's best mate. Well, that best mate goes on for around about 54 years, as I remember. Andy and I have been close over that time. Many of you, if you haven't seen me before, you've seen me in the pub, because I used to go there. You've seen me in real estate, because I used to go there. You've seen me in bananas, because I used to go there. But we always had an awful lot of fun. So in a way to honour Andy, let's begin by saying that Andrew Graham McCallum, best known by us all as Andy, was born on the 23rd of July 1950 in McCallum, northern New South Wales. He was the second son to Jesse and William McCallum, and the youngest sibling to Will. If you had a chance to meet the whole family together, that was something to be reckoned with, because they all had their own ideas and what they wanted to do, but Andy was the opposite to everybody else. And that's the way he came up, and that's the way he was brought up, and that's the way he lived. Andy grew up on the family dairy farm in Glenrock, near the town of Yukai, at the base of Mount Warning. The farm was adjacent to another family farm, and Andy was very close with his auntie, uncle and cousin who lived there. Although Andy worked and lived in many different places in New South Wales and Victoria, this part of the world was always very close to Andy's heart, and the Tweed Valley reminded him of his most favourite place in the world. I remember a little story when they moved down to Victoria. This is not in the eulogy, but Andy kept on saying, "This place is so bloody cold, I'd much rather be home. I need to live up north." And he kept on saying that his whole life, that I was involved with him. Anyways, apart from all of that, even in his youth, Andy was a very competent horse rider, a passionate member of the Murwillumbah Pony Club. A young Andy would have to ride 2 hours to attend the club, and then it was another 2-hour horse ride back home. These horse skills and intimate knowledge of the local area were put to good use when, still as a junior, he would assist the police to locate missing hikers at Mount Warning, a place that he knew very, very well. Family folklore has it that the police would actually wait for Andy and his mate John, not me, to arrive, and then wait at the base of the mountain while Andy and John, typically barefooted, scurried around the mountain to bring back the lost hikers. Great jubilation. Don't worry about the police, just send Andy and his mate, they'll do anything. And that's the way it was. Now, Andy attended the Murwillumbah primary and high schools and was a key member of the Rural Youth, an organisation that provided social and agricultural activities for young people in the area. Andy's passion for farming and agriculture, as well as his love of a good debate, which I think many of us would know about, led him to become the New South Wales Rural Youth Debating Champion, which may not come as very much of a surprise, because if ever you've taken Andy on face to face, I can guarantee you lost. Or if you didn't, he'd tell you you did. In Andy's early professional life, he explored careers off the farm, including employment in the Bank of New South Wales in various locations around the state. This culminated in the state in Canberra, which is where fate stepped in and he met an incredible young woman who was working at a local orphanage. Maz initially resisted Andy's charms, as you heard, but before long they started going out, and, well, as they say, the rest is history. But I would love to have been around when that debate was going on, because I know who would have won that one, and it wasn't him. It's very simple. Now, where did I come into all of this? Well, I was appointed into the Bank of New South Wales in Canberra about much the same time as Andy was. Now, he used to work in the University Avenue branch, if any of you know Canberra, that's sort of just off London Circuit. And I was appointed to their Curtin branch, which was, in those days, one of the newer suburbs of Canberra, which is probably now one of the oldest. While Andy and I don't really remember what happened, how did our paths cross, I don't recall. But with a bang, and 54 years later, here I am telling you all about the man himself. Maybe you would like to hear some funny stories and some facts about this bloke you never knew. When in the bank, we were all looking forward to our tax returns, how to spend this money, how to do this, how to do that. Well, he came up with a grand idea and he said, mate, let's go blow the lot. I think we got about $120 back, so it was a lot of money. And we did. So away we went. This fella, some of you may know him as this, some of you may not. He was commonly known as the Murbar Kid, the kid that came from the Wollumbar. That's who he was. And of course, me being from the mountains, I was the mountain man. In Andy's trusty VW, we stayed at the Thredbo Alpine Hotel. Wow, what an experience that was. We considered it to be pretty swanky, pretty lush. We'd never experienced anyone coming into our bedrooms, turning back the sheets and the blankets and putting boiled lollies under the pillows. That was a first for me, and it was certainly a first for him. He said, bloody hell, mate, what are we paying for? As he would, he's always very good about asking for his pennies in the tin. They were never, ever separable. If he didn't have a tin that had a penny in it, he considered himself to be really broke. So we blew the lot, and we had a wonderful time. So as was mentioned earlier, Andy and Maz were married in Maz's hometown of Grenfell on the 10th of November 73 and set up home in Fairy Meadow, down near Wollongong. 1 year later, they moved to Andy's farm at Glenelg, and it was here that they joyously welcomed their daughter, Kylie, to the world on the 19th of August 1975. In the midst of farming, venturing into the new field of growing bananas, renovating their home and keeping the snakes at bay, and I mean that sincerely, keeping the snakes at bay, they also grappled with the harsh realities of life and lost their precious little girl of a congenital heart condition at the tender age of 8 months. This is where the story gets really, really hard, but it's something that I feel I have to say. 1 year later, Andy and Maz became parents, and that's when Ben was born. There he is, he's still alive, that's a good thing. And then Jim, and then Bob. Well, that trio was really to be loved and to work with. And, you know, I can almost hear it now. Where's Ben? Mum would say, He's out doing his schoolwork. Leave him alone. Bloody hell. Where's Bob? Oh, he's out there playing somewhere. Oh, bloody hell. Where's Jim? He's waiting for you. Where? At the front. You said you wanted to be at the front in half an hour. He's standing there waiting for you, and you're in here going on and carrying about. So what happened? He goes out, he gets Jim, and off he goes and does what he does. Now, this is where I said the story gets really difficult. My wife Marie and I wanted to come and help in the family business, bearing in mind I live in the Blue Mountains. There ain't any farms up there. If you want to go picking up, eucalypt nuts or whatever, that was a great chore, but it didn't happen. But there was a very big problem that I had to try and overcome, because our daughter, Melissa, was 8 months old. If any of you listen to the first part, you can understand the dilemma. So I rang to discuss this dilemma with Maz and Andy. And unfortunately, or fortunately, as Maz always said, life moves ever onwards, so don't be silly. If you don't come now, you never will. So do it. So we did it. So began the new tradition of the OC family coming for holidays around the east coast of Australia and helping with chores. During one visit, the whole mob went to Surfers Paradise for the day. And Mel, being just a tiny little baby that Uncle Andy absolutely cherished, he'd already dangled her feet in the water. He decided that he would like to buy her first ice cream. Well, they weren't the ice creams that you knew in the day. It was a hard scoop and put on the top. It was a bit of a soft serve. So before much longer, Mel was absolutely covered in ice cream, and anyone that was in half a foot from her was also covered in ice cream, and that included her very special Uncle Andy. And he was not happy that he was covered in all this ice cream, because the flies flocked to him, and he didn't like flies at the best of time. So that is the beginning of the Mel and Andy story. I don't know if I'm going to hit too much on that, because the family knows exactly what happened, and I think they can clearly remember that there was always a special relationship between Mel and Andy, Andy and Mel, and it just happened. Andy was always looking for a new challenge for himself and his family. In the early 1980s, Andy moved the family to Katamatite in north central New South Wales and became an accountant for Ifley Cotton. The O'Carrigans didn't continue there because it's too bloody hot. Simple. I don't know how Maz and the boys survived being up there, but it happened. Andy wanted to make a go of it, he made a go of it, and everybody understood who he was, how he was, and what he was. And he made a fist of it and did really well. Missing the Tweed Valley again, Andy and Maz moved back to the hamlet of Dalgeigan near Moorlambar, where they established an extremely successful eco-vale Holstein Friesian stud. In 1985, Andy's prize Friesian Buttercup actually set an Australian Australian Butterfat record for a 3-year-old by producing a stunning 344 kilos of butterfat in 300 days. Now that was never done. Andy was ever so proud. And then one day I rang him up and said, "How's that Buttercup going?" And he said, "Oh, she's dead." And I thought, for your favourite cow, she's dead. What killed her? You didn't? He said, "No, but a snake did." So he was pretty upset about that, and it took him a long time to get over it. In addition to the mixed farming enterprise, Andy tried his hand at real estate in Surfers Paradise. His country charm and unique approach to business ensured a couple of successful years in that industry. Following on from that, he and the O'Carrigans were there during the real estate thing, but I don't have any really funny stories about that one. He also went on to establish one of the largest cleaning companies in the Tweed Valley. Their enterprise service schools, government buildings, bank, major utility providers, shopping centres, apartment blocks and residential homes, anywhere from Murwillumbah to the Gold Coast. And guess who was with him? I didn't say it. It wasn't long, however, until the allure of dairy farming grew too strong and he again wanted to return to the land full time. So there was a big trip going on. They bought themselves a house just up here in Cobram, just off the Token-Warbanella Road, with Andy fulfilling his lifelong ambition of owning his own dairy farm. He set to numerous major farm improvements, including changing the herd from 100 mostly Friesian to 160 head of cattle, who in those days were probably mostly Jersey, which significantly increased their production. But there is a little story in this that not too many people know. Andy decided with such a large herd he had to increase the ability to milk the cows. So he said, righto, we've got 6 aside here, now we need 10. And I thought, bloody hell, what are we going to do? So he said, that's easy. We went out with a shovel and a pick and we started elongating the run for the cattle, and I couldn't help him finish it, but I know he did finish it, and it worked very well. That's all I was concerned about, because I'd sort of let him down. I had a family emergency at home and had to go that way. Once again, the OCs arrived for holidays. This time, however, there were many surprises for the kids to get involved with. Herding the cows for the afternoon milk. We wouldn't let them go out for the morning milk because that used to start at around about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and the kids are all asleep. They also learned how to muck out the milking stalls, seeing calves being born and understanding that milk comes from cows, not from cartons or bottles. That's where they thought that it happened. Go to the shop, get your milk, no problem. There was a couple of very good lessons that were learnt by Andy while I was down there that time, and that is, don't fool with the bull. You'd have to see this young buck to see what he looked like. He was all head and that's about it. Girth around the neck, from memory, was about 15 feet. Can't convert that very quickly, but 5 metres plus. So he was a big boy. And Andy had brought him up from a calf. When Andy used to feed him, he used to put his hand into his mouth and he'd keep on trying to suck extra sustenance from Andy. And that's just what happened. Well, when Buck got to his full height, he still wanted to suck Andy's hand, and that was all right, he didn't mind. But in those days, Andy used to also give him a bucket of milk. So we'd do the bucket of milk, he'd suck the hand, everything's fine. Bucky sort of come over to Andy, and Andy thought, oh, he wants to suck the hand, but Andy was standing here. There was a gum tree like that standing there, and that was Buck's favourite scratching tree. He wanted a scratch, so he moved over. Andy was in the way, so he kept moving over, and he kept moving over, and he started scratching his head, and Andy said, stop it, stop it, stop it, you're trying to kill me, what are you doing? Sure enough, there wasn't too much problem with that, very simple. I think the damage was quite small considering what happened. It was 3 broken ribs and a massive bruising. He didn't like bruises, but he got a lot that day. Now, after 10 years of the freezing Victoria winter mornings in the dairy, Andy and Maz returned to the sunny northern New South Wales and established McCallum Real Estate in Ballina and Lennox Head. Never one to be idle, Andy decided to build a Japanese tea pavilion, which you've heard about earlier, in his backyard. This he did from scratch, no template, no guidelines, no instructions. That was all here. He knew exactly what he had to do, and he went and he did it. But you see, that was a marvellous thing, but we went up there on one of the holiday jaunts that we did, and we learnt a new trick. Because they were being involved or invaded by cane toads. Now, you had to know how to kill a cane toad, and that was, you hit it with a spade. If you heard it go pop, it was dead. If it didn't, you do it again and again and again until it goes pop. I don't know how many cane toads we wound up killing that time, but there were certainly a lot of them. And we all helped, we had a lot of fun. So, excuse me, it was during this time on the coast that Andy developed a keen interest in motorbikes. We'll just say a triumph. And before long, he and Maz joined the Ulysses Club. You know, that one that says, grow old disgracefully? That's who it was. As well as riding with the group, they cherished their Sundays off work and regularly enjoyed rides around the area on their prized motorbikes. The Triumph that you'll see a little bit later in the photos was the source of great enjoyment for Andy, and Maz enjoyed her bike as well. I know that because she told me. Inspired by the neighbours and very good friends, it was in an afternoon chat one day, and they said, oh, we're going to move to Mackay. And of course Andy said, why upset you? And they said, no, we're going to go up and try a pub. And we're going to become publicans. Well, the rest of the things sort of happened from there. There was a decision made that they would purchase a pub. That's Andy and Maz. And they looked around, they found this pub in Rushworth. It was closely considered the bottom pub, but it was the top pub in the area. And very quickly were welcomed by both the community and by the staff and everybody else. It was a wonderful time for them. So over the 13 years at the pub, Andy and Maz hosted birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, theme nights, wakes, and even opened up on Christmas Day to make sure that none of the locals went with nobody to see on Christmas. That's just who Andy and Maz were. You went out there, you did what you did, you made people happy, and that's all that mattered. Now, the Rushy Pub was an unofficial drop-in centre for anyone and everyone. And in October 2016, Andy and Maz and the entire pub team were awarded Victoria's Outstanding Community Service Award at the Australian Hotels Association's annual awards night. It may have been almost 6 years since Andy and Maz last opened the doors of the pub, but they're very loyal patrons who became friends and who are here today to say goodbye to Andy. I think what he would prefer is not goodbye, it's just see you soon, mate, because that's what he's hoping. We're all going to see him really fairly soon. Working in a pub, was it good for the soul or a working experience one might like to try before they get too old? Come and visit, we will enjoy the company. That was the response, so off we went, we got going, and we were there. How can I help? Sit over there and do nothing. Lasted about 10 minutes. I'm here to help. You are busy, let me pull a beer for one of your customers. You don't know how to. Sit over there. After a couple of days sitting, I was determined to help. Here, buy some bread, milk, butter and whatever Maz needs. Okay then, the gopher. Better than nothing, I was helping. That's all that mattered there. It was during their time at the pub that Andy was able to indulge in his newfound passion of cycling, especially Cadel Evans and the Tour de France. The late nights at the pub perfectly complemented the early hour telecasts of the tour. Depending on if you knew too much about the pub, but they get patrons coming like about 10:30, 11 o'clock that have been finishing at the abattoirs and wanted to come in and have a drink. And he said, yeah, come in and have a drink. We're going to sit down and enjoy ourselves while I watch the tour. So that became a great interest of Andy's, and even up to his death, I can assure you, if the Tour de France was on, he was there and he was watching it and he was telling everyone what's going to happen. Did he know? not really, but he had a fairly good idea. He'd seen enough of it over the years. While in the pub, Andy and Maz became grandparents to Zara, Sadie, Ollie, Chloe, Jack, Will, Parker and Hudson. And they were all cherished by Andy, and he relished his time with them. A proud pop and pa. It says Andy even loved their stories, but there's one word missing. It's Nandy-da. That's how my kids knew him. They wanted to get up and sing, so he became Nandy-da. And Andy loved every story, anecdote and joke he shared with them, and was very proud in his role as their grandfather. In June 2019, Andy suffered a massive stroke. This cruel turn of events severely impacted Andy's mobility, but his quick wit and sharp mind remained. He was lucky to have that, you know. When COVID fortuitously forced the closure of the pub, Maz moved to Katamatite in June 2020, with Andy able to join her a couple of months later. For almost 5 years, Andy was lovingly cared for at home by Maz, and in March 25, he was welcomed to his final home at Irvine House in Cobram, just adjacent to the hospital. The staff at Irvine House were flawless in their care for Andy, and also his great affection for them. And the family is truly grateful for their professional and personal care for Andy. Now, by Christmas last year, Andy's mobility had further deteriorated, but he was still able to enjoy a traditional Christmas brekkie. Let's see, fried eggs, ham, usually with Maz, Ben and Jim on Christmas Day. On Friday the 9th of January, Andy quietly lost consciousness, and with his family keeping a vigil, he took his last peaceful breath on the morning of Sunday, January the 11th. Now, if you've listened to anything that I've said, listen to this, because this is the most important message. Andy, I know this is probably inappropriate at your eulogy, but please give the angels help, mate. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. What a beautiful overview of Andy's life. So let's put our hands together again for John. I'd like to now invite Andy's son Ben to come forward and share a reading titled A Little Robin, and to reflect on some of his own memories of his dad.
Thank you all for coming today to the service to Farewell Dad. The family really appreciates everyone that's been able to get along, so thank you. Despite his health issues in later life, Dad was an incredibly fortunate man, largely because he had Mum at his side, working harder in each venture than any woman or mother should be called upon to. And solely due to Mum was he able to remain at home in the brilliant community of Caddy, following his stroke and physical decline for an amazing 4.5 years. You've heard today of some of Dad's passions, including the Queensland Origin team. While Mum, Jim and Bob also support the Cane Toads, it didn't sit right with me, given we were all born in New South Wales, which was our state of origin. So I obviously support the New South Wales Blues. I reckon Dad just let out a pain groan when I pulled this one out. But we enjoyed plenty of banter, as you've heard. Dad enjoyed a bit of banter, and during each Origin series it was a great opportunity to wind Dad up and pile on when the Blues were occasionally up and about. Although well overdue, Dad did mellow considerably over his life, and we particularly noticed his change following his stroke. It came with finding humour in more things and more often, and a joy in interacting with a broad cross-section of people. Growing up, we didn't always see the fun side of Dad, and certainly not him laughing at himself. But when we did, it was memorable. For instance, when on the dairy farm up the road here, Mum and us boys were at the dining room table after an afternoon milking, and Dad came to the back sliding door. He opened the screen door up and bang! Ran face first into the glass door. We all lost it. It was the funniest thing. Dad then stepped in and shouted, "I've told you not to fire trucking shut both those fire trucking doors." This tirade had no effect on us. We just couldn't stop laughing. And he just stood there fuming until a silly grin came across his face, and realising how ridiculous it was, he started laughing as well. About 15 years later, the family were all up at Mum and Dad's place in Lennox Head, New South Wales, and we retold this story to our partners who were gathered there with us on the patio outside the house. Dad laughed along with the memory of him being ridiculous and walking face first into a glass sliding door. Anyway, it was time to grab a few more beers, and Dad was popping inside when bang! He did it again. Face first into the glass sliding door, not 5 minutes after we retold the story. And this time, there was no shouting. It was straight to all of us, including Dad, laughing for a long time. As Rhonda mentioned, Dad was well read, but not an avid reader of books, but rather the Australian, the Queensland Country Life and the Land newspapers, which he'd read cover to cover multiple times and then do it all again. It may come as a surprise that he was a fan of poetry. Well, he liked a specific poem and would recite this every now and again throughout our childhood, particularly when we had visitors and he had an audience. I think he'd like me to share this with you today. When I woke up this morning, the dawn was soft and still. A little robin came and sat upon my windowsill. He tipped his head and looked at me, his eyes so bright and clear. He chirped a little melody, my morning thoughts to cheer. His song he sang so sweetly, without a moment's lull. I gently pulled the window down and crushed the bastard's skull. And finally, having heard of a lifetime of toil and graft, the highs and lows, Dad did create something special that will last. And that's his 3 happy sons, with loving partners, and his grandkids who each carry some of him with them, guaranteeing him a degree of immortality. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Ben. I actually didn't see that poem ending that way, as I'm sure most people did. As we remember Andy and celebrate his life, let's take a moment now to enjoy a photographic tribute that captures the special moments and memories of his journey. Please enjoy.
Must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you
Please welcome Andy's granddaughters, Zara and Sadie, who will now read the Lord's Prayer in honour of their pop.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Thanks, Zara and Sadie. For those that can, please stand. And here now, in this final act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation, we tenderly, lovingly and reverently commit the body of our dear friend Andy to a more peaceful place. May he now rest in peace. Please be seated. As we bring this service to a close, I'd like to invite Andy's grandchildren, Ollie and Chloe, to come forward and offer an Irish blessing celebrating Andy's life and the love he shared with his family.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face.
The rains fall soft upon your fields until we meet again. May God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Thanks, Ollie and Chloe. Let's put our hands together for all of our speakers today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That does conclude our service in honour of Andy. Once again, I'd like to thank you for your love, support and attendance today and invite you to stay and join Maz and the family for refreshments. And more importantly, continue to remember Andy together as family and friends. In a short moment, you will have an opportunity to place a floral tribute on Andy's coffin as you say your own personal goodbyes. This is a chance to pay tribute to his memory in your own way, to reflect on the times that you shared with him and to offer your respects. Andy was a man who lived on his own terms, stood by his convictions and did things his way. So, in honour of him, may you live boldly, stay true to yourselves and face each challenge with the same strength, determination and purpose Andy did. Thank you, and could I please ask you all to stand as the music starts, and could our coffin bearers please come forward.
Before they turn off all the lights, I won't read you your wrongs or your rights. The time has gone. I'll tell you good night, close the door. Tell you I love you once more. The time has gone, so here it is. I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. chase the monsters away. Oh, well, I'll read a story to you. Only difference is this one is true. The time has gone. I folded your clothes on the chair. I hope you sleep well, don't be scared. Time has gone, so here it is. I'm not your son, you're not my friend.